The annual inflation rate for the United States is looking much better than when it shot up to 7% in 2021 and 6.5% in 2022. Last year, inflation came down to 3.4%, and as of July 11, 2024, it was as low as 3%. However, inflation affects goods and services differently. For instance, energy and gas prices have decreased while housing prices have increased. So everyone feels the financial strain of inflation a little differently. We feel it based on what we buy and what we buy a lot of. No matter your budget, the best way to fight inflation is to be mindful of your spending by cutting costs or getting more for your money. This podcast will review 15 of my favorite savings tips for keeping more of your hard-earned dough. Hey friends, welcome back. I'm Laura Adams, an award-winning author, money speaker, founder of the Money Stack newsletter, and host of the Money Girl podcast with 43 million downloads. As an on-camera financial spokesperson and content creator, I partner with select brands for PR and marketing work. As always, you can learn more about me, my work, my books, at my website, lauradadams.com. And by the way, if you've got a money question, I'd love to hear it. Leave it on our voicemail line at 302-364-0308. You can also send me an email using my contact page at lauradadams.com. All right, let's get into the savings tips. I want to challenge you to use as many of them as possible to fight inflation. Even making a few small changes to your spending habits can really add up to significant savings. All right, tip number 1 is to earn more on your savings. So if you've got money sitting in a low yield savings account, I want you to pay attention and move that money quickly to a high yield option. Right now, there are banks paying over 5% APY. That can really help your savings grow. You want to use a comparison site like Finder.com to shop for FDIC-insured high-interest savings accounts with no monthly fees. There are a lot of great banks out there paying very competitive rates right now, so take the time to do a little research. Tip number 2, switch to a better bank. If you're paying monthly bank service fees, it's time to switch to a better bank. You need to switch to free checking. Many online banks and credit unions have no fees, and they pay competitive interest rates on checking and savings balances. So don't be afraid to move your money to a new bank. It might seem like a hassle, but I can promise you that, paying those fees to a bank is really senseless. You need to just make sure to cut that expense right away and find a better bank. Tip number 3, cancel unused subscriptions. We've all been there. We've all signed up for things that either we don't use or, we don't need and forget that we're paying for. If you're paying for something that you don't regularly use, cancel it immediately and put your cash to better use. Start by reviewing your expenses. Maybe you go back a month or 2 and look for any charges for products and services you're not using. Maybe it's a gym membership. It could be magazines, clothes subscriptions, or food subscriptions that either you don't need or are overpaying for them. Tip number 4. Compare prices at discount stores. So discount stores like Aldi, Costco, and Walmart can be excellent places to find items for less than pricier places like Whole Foods and Fresh Market. Now, I'm not saying never go to Whole Foods and Fresh Market. I love those stores. But you want to take the time to compare prices for the things that you buy the most. You might want to start a spreadsheet with all of the things that you typically buy and where you can get them for the lowest price. Also try less expensive generic brands to see if they're just as good. A lot of times they are. There may be some cases where you want to stick with the brand name, but once you know where you can get the lowest price for particular items, you can kind of bunch up your shopping and know, okay, I'm going to get everything from this list over here and everything from this list over here, and make sure that you're saving money. It really can add up. Tip number 5, use a cash back credit card. If you use credit cards for everyday purchases, ensure that you're getting the most rewards from them. For instance, if you're spending a lot of money on gas, be sure to buy it with a card that pays a high reward for that category. There are a lot of cards out there paying 5% back on gas. If you spend a lot of money, maybe at Amazon like me, the Prime Visa pays 5% back on purchases there and at Whole Foods when you're a Prime member. So the idea is to maximize card benefits based on what and where you buy the most. So if you're doing a lot of shopping at a retailer with their own branded card, check into the benefits. It may really be worth it. Even if it does charge an annual fee, you may get a lot more back in benefits compared to what you have to pay to have that card annually. Tip number 6, cook at home more. This is an excellent way not only to save money, but to eat healthier food. By planning your meals, you can make expensive ingredients like meat go a lot further, and you can use some inexpensive ingredients more, like rice, beans, and potatoes. If you have the space, you might consider growing some food at home, maybe even if it's just herbs on your windowsill, could be a tomato vine on your porch, or even various fruits and vegetables in your yard. Growing, cooking, and preserving food can be a really fun hobby that also drastically cuts your grocery bill. Tip number 7, shop your insurance policies. Unfortunately, being loyal to your insurance company does not always mean you're getting the best deal. So review and shop your insurance policies annually to make sure you have the right coverage and that you're also paying the lowest price for it. Many property insurance companies offer discounts, such as for bundling coverage. This is when you get both, let's say, auto and homeowners or auto and renters with the same company. They might also cut your rate based on your occupation, like, being in the medical field or being a teacher. They might also give you a break if you complete a driver's education course. You can find out more at a site like aceable.com about completing online education. And in many cases, insurance companies will give you a discount for several years after you complete driver's education. Maybe you got married. That actually can qualify you for a lower rate. Maybe you are a student and you're getting good grades. There are a lot of things that, you may not think could change your rate on your property insurance, but it can. So ask your insurance company if you're getting every money-saving discount that you're entitled to. Tip number 8, increase your insurance deductibles. So when you increase your car, your home, or your renter's insurance deductible, you pay more out of pocket for claims, but you have lower premiums. Now, you want to be sure you always keep enough in an emergency fund to fully cover a deductible if you need to make a claim. But another option to cut the cost of car insurance is to reduce your coverage. Now, that said, you should never be underinsured, so you only want to use this tip if your situation has changed. Perhaps you have an older vehicle that you've paid off, and you no longer need to insure it the way you did when you had a loan on that and it was a newer car. Tip number 9, drive a less expensive car. In addition to auto insurance, everything related to vehicles is costly, like fuel, maintenance, and the sticker price. If you have an expensive car, trading it for a more affordable model reduces your monthly payments and may also cut your auto insurance. Tip number 10, shop in secondhand stores. Spending money at local or online thrift and consignment stores is an excellent way to pay less for high-quality clothing, accessories, furnishings, and sporting goods. This is one of my favorite tips. Plus, you'll be doing your part to help the environment. I'm a huge fan of buying new or gently used clothing at sites like ThredUp and The RealReal. Tip number 11, sell unused items. Everyone has gently worn clothes, housewares, or sporting goods they're not using. So try selling them online. You might check out Poshmark, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or even a local consignment shop like Play It Again Sports, depending on what you have. You'll declutter, raise cash, and pad your savings account. Tip number 12, use the library. If you love to read, listen to audiobooks, or watch movies, Getting a library card is an easy way to save money. Most libraries have an online portal to borrow ebooks and audiobooks for devices like your Kindle, your computer, or any mobile device that you have. So you may not even have to visit a local branch. Plus, some even have a delivery service where they'll bring books to you. Tip number 13, consider a balance transfer offer. If you're getting charged expensive interest on a credit card balance, consider transferring the debt to a 0% balance transfer credit card. That will allow you to save money during a promotional period that could last up to 18 months. However, if you don't pay off a balance transfer before the promotion ends, you will have to pay a higher interest rate at the end of that term, and it could even be higher than the rate you were paying before. So you want to have a clear-cut plan for paying off that balance when you move it over to a balance transfer offer. Tip number 14, start a side business. There's no limit to the ways you can increase your income. Depending on your interests, your skills, and experience, you might become a rideshare driver, teach online, or provide a local service for extra cash. If you're interested in starting a business, check out my latest book called Money Smart Solopreneur, a personal finance system for freelancers, entrepreneurs, and side hustlers. It will give you more information on starting and growing your own venture. And our last tip, number 15, keep investing. Now, while investing may not sound like a way to save money, it's really important for your long-term goals because that money has got to outpace inflation. Despite the market's ups and downs, it has historically returned about 10% annually. So that's far above the inflation rate. So if you haven't started investing, start now. You want to use a long-term buy and hold strategy. Your future self will thank you. I hope these have given you some ideas for ways to save money, even if you're still feeling the pinch of inflation. And before we go, a quick reminder to subscribe to The Money Stack. That's my weekly newsletter when you visit lauradadams.com. It's filled with money tips, tools, news, challenges, and things I enjoy. You can subscribe for free or become a paid member with access to live educational events. That's all for now. I'll talk to you soon. Until then, here's to living a richer life. Money Girl is a quick and dirty tips podcast, and I want to thank our fantastic team. Steve Rickyberg audio engineers the show. Brandon Gaetjes is our director of podcasts. Holly Hutchins is our digital operations specialist. Morgan Christensen is our advertising operations specialist. And Davina Tomlin is our marketing and publicity associate.